Hey, welcome back. Today we're diving into something that sits right at the intersection of, believe it or not, ancient philosophy and the most advanced technology out there. We're talking about AI ethics, but from a really unique angle.
So here's the big question, right? How is it that we can build these incredible machines that can calculate faster than any human, that can master games we thought were unmasterable, but when you put a moral choice in front of them, they can make decisions that just seem, well, foolish, or even worse, dangerous? What's going on there?
And this isn't just a thought experiment. We see this play out in the real world. You've got self-driving cars that could face a no-win scenario. You have algorithms in hospitals trying to decide who gets critical care. And we've all heard about sentencing software that perpetuates historical biases. In every one of these cases, the machine is just following its programming, but the result can feel deeply ethically wrong. To really get to the bottom of this modern problem, we're going to do something that might seem a little weird. We're going to travel back in time. We're going to use a key from the 13th century to unlock a 21st century puzzle. It's a framework for decision-making that, as you'll see, perfectly explains what's missing in our AI. And that key comes from this guy, the philosopher and theologian Thomas Aquinas. For him, the absolute master virtue for dealing with the messy, complicated real world was something he called prudence. Now, when we say prudence, we usually think of just being careful. But for Aquinas, it was way more than that. It was the actual skill, the right reason, for figuring out the best thing to do, right here, right now. And here's the crucial part. Aquinas said that prudence isn't some single flash of genius or a gut feeling. No, it's a whole process. It's a system, and it's built on 3 other specific virtues that all have to work together to get it right. These 3 virtues are like the pillars holding up the entire structure of a good, prudent decision. They're the mental tools we use to figure things out, from what to have for lunch to life and death moral choices. So let's break them down. Okay, first up we have Eubulia. It's the virtue of taking good counsel. Think of it as being a great investigator. It's the skill of gathering all the right information, weighing your options, and figuring out the different ways, the different means you could use to reach your goal. Second, you've got Synesis. This is about sound judgment, but specifically judgment that follows the common rules. So after you've done your research with Eubulia, Synesis is what lets you look at a normal, everyday situation and apply the law or the social rules or just standard procedure correctly. It's about knowing the playbook. But this is the real game changer. It's called Gnome. Gnome is the highest level of judgment. It's the wisdom to see that a particular situation is different. It's the ability to recognize when following the common rules to the letter would actually cause harm or be unjust. It's knowing when to make an exception. So you see the flow? According to Aquinas, this is how it works. You start by taking counsel, that's Eubulia. Then you make a judgment about what you've learned, using Synesis for the normal stuff and Gnome for the exceptions. And only then does prudence issue the command. It's the final decision to act. Okay, so you might be thinking, cool philosophy lesson, but what does a 13th century monk have to do with AI in 2024? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's take this ancient framework and lay it right on top of our modern machines. This table just lays it out perfectly. Let's start with Eubulia. An AI can simulate deliberation, sure, it can process a billion pathways in a second, but does it truly understand the purpose or the why behind the goal? Not really. Now, Synesis, this is AI's sweet spot. It is an absolute master of pattern recognition and rule following. Give it a clear rulebook and it's flawless. But then you get to Gnome. And here, it's a total failure. AI just can't handle ambiguity, moral context, or knowing when the rules themselves are the problem. Here's a great way to think about it. An AI is the referee who has memorized the entire rulebook word for word and applies every rule with perfect precision. A human with Gnome, on the other hand, is the referee who understands the spirit of the game. They know the rules, but they also know when applying a rule would actually ruin the game. One follows the code, the other gets the context. And that right there brings us to the core of this whole issue. The biggest ethical blind spot in AI isn't just a bug that we can patch. It's the complete and total absence of Gnome. It's this critical missing piece, the wisdom to handle exceptions. What's just amazing is that Aquinas himself basically predicted this. He said Gnome is the virtue you use specifically in those cases where the common law fails to apply.
It's a tool that was designed for the gray areas, for the moments when the standard operating procedure just isn't good enough. So where do the common rules fail today? Well, they're the exact scenarios we started with. The traffic laws weren't written for a no-win car crash. The legal code can't always account for the unique human need for equity in a courtroom. And a doctor in an ER knows that sometimes you have to go off script to save a life. These aren't glitches. They are situations that demand human judgment, that demand no.
So if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. AI can get scarily good at Synesis, at following the rules. It can even be better than us at it. But it fundamentally completely lacks Gnome, the wisdom for exceptions. It can compute, but it can't truly judge.
And this isn't just one problem among many that we need to solve. This is arguably the single fundamental gap. It's the difference between a system that recognizes patterns in data and a conscious mind that understands things like purpose and justice and mercy. And that leaves us with a huge question, one we all need to be thinking about. As we continue to wave these incredibly powerful tools into our lives, into our cars, our hospitals, our courts, we have to ask, who or what are we going to trust to be the judge when the rules run out?